Give you a couple of seconds, and I want to welcome all of you to season 4, episode 2. We had episode 1 a few weeks ago before we traveled for London, and this is our newest additions. And I think you guys are going to be pretty impressed with what we have put together, not only for posing clinics, but also new additions to certain shows as far as divisions. So we've been working hard behind the scenes to be able to give you more of what you're requesting. And I had a couple of coaches contact me and say, hey, can you add these different divisions for these shows? And we want to be able to listen. So Jeff, I know that it's been huge to hear the Howls out in Arizona, really looking, and I know Melissa's part of that. And she was the reason why these 2 divisions were born in the Desert Storm Classic coming up for our 3rd annual. So I want to say hi to everybody. I'm hoping you're having a great week. We know it's a holiday weekend, so make sure and eat a lot, watch a lot of football, and make sure you go to the gym, especially if your kids are out of school, because you're going to need that decompression time. And I know I did. So we put up Christmas lights yesterday and almost died twice, but we didn't. So we're here. And we want to be able to give you not only on Instagram, but also on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. And also, I think we have, we have like 3 accounts going on one of those platforms. I'll get right to it. We have been trying to figure out a way to give more back, not only to the shows, but also to other parts of components that make our sport work so well. And for those of you who are coaches who I've reached out to or will be reaching out to, you will be receiving a special invite from me on what we're going to be doing. It's going to be a small mastermind group, and we are going to put together some things that are going to make the shows better for new coaches, for veteran coaches, for big teams, for small teams. And that's something that I wished we would have done last year. However, I believe it's time to be able to give back this year, coming up in 2024 at every single event. So I do want to share with you, you won't be able to see this on Instagram, and I do apologize, but you will be able to see it on here. Our new poster was officially released today. And I did send that to a few folks, so you'll be seeing it on here, where we now have competition kit, we have Show Glow services, and we also do have Belaglam. And those are all 3 of our official vendors for the American Fit Expo Summer Storm Classic, July 13th at the George R. Brown. Now, I am doing this live on the Desert Storm Classic Instagram. I get it. Some of you might want to use that as a warm-up show, or what they call in Europe a lead-up show, which this will count toward point standings for all athletes who compete in that show, as well as the Desert Storm Classic, the Storm Classic UK, and then the Storm Classic International Championships happening in October. The reason why I love this is because the winners from that show got to be displayed, and we did go ahead and add kids fitness, transformation, as well as family fitness. We are still working. We're not sure if we can get wheelchair added because it is a 36-inch stage, and it is at the George R. Brown Convention Center specifically. That has been requested. That division has been requested. We haven't been officially able to add it yet. We're still in talks with that. But also our host hotel will be the Hilton Houston Americas across the street, downtown Houston, from the George R. Brown. So it's going to be nice and close. Competitors can go across the street and compete, go back to the hotel. They can basically change and then come back for the rest of the show. That will be a straight through format. I am completely in love with the new poster that we made, and I sent it to my partners with the American Fit Expo, and they are extremely excited to be able to see that we're gaining ground. Now, I'm going to give you just the word of advice. They will not release the new 2024 date, the July 13th date, until probably next month or January. We are very early in that process. So please keep in mind, if you're looking and you're texting me going, hey, I only see last year's date. They update it toward the end of the year or the beginning of the following year. We're just way ahead of schedule because it takes a little longer to promote the bodybuilding event, which is ours, and we take that very, very special. We want to be able to do that early so we know that we'll have the number of competitors that they are looking for. But more importantly, if we have to cap the event, we know we can do that early rather than later so we don't have a mad rush of people. I think that we'll be able to serve at the most 150 to 200 raw athletes. That's number of bodies that register for the show. That does not include crossover. We are going to have people from all over the country, if not overseas, coming in for that show because of the magnitude of the prestige of who will be in attendance and who will be dropping by the show. So this is not one to take lightly, and this is not one that you want to register late for because it very well could fill up. This could be the first show that we fill up and maybe have to cut registration off. I've never had to say that. I was close in 2020. We were extremely close. And I think we were about 23 competitors away from having to do that. But we packed that arena so much that the arena owners were kind of upset that we had so many people show up and so many audience members buy tickets. So we ended up doing it. That was the last year we did it at that event center. And we still have a good relationship with them. So that's good, right? Let's move on to the Desert Storm Classic. You guys know July 13th is a very special day for us here in Houston. And what we're going to be doing the following month is going directly into the Desert Storm Classic, August 17th at the Phoenix Convention Center. And we're going to contract the same hotel, the Hyatt, across the street from the convention center, which did a great job on rooms. The room rates were really, really good. And it actually deterred people from wanting to go get an Airbnb because why go travel? And also why pay more when you could pay less and be closer? And everything that you're going to need is going to be contained in the Hyatt. Very impressed with their downstairs as far as their meals. Upstairs, the rooms were incredibly cool. So we added a few different divisions with the Howell's permission and also with their consistency and persistence in asking. So this is what we have added officially for the third annual Culture Fit Expo Desert Storm Classic. Number one, when they saw what happened at the Storm Classic International in October, this was a no-brainer. We are officially adding transformation to that show. Now, if you're in the Phoenix area, if you're in the Houston area, if you're in Seattle, Washington, Florida, Maine, New York, Illinois, Iowa, Arkansas, it doesn't matter where. You could be from New Mexico, California, Colorado. We'll just hit some of those states, right? If you have a journey and a story that you want to talk about as far as weight loss and you have transformed physically your body, there is no weight cap, which means you could have lost 25 pounds. You could have lost 50. If you're like Chris Gagne, he was 550 pounds and got down to 275 pounds. And you'll see the transformation gallery up on the Storm Classic events page, stormclassicshow.com. We now have the transformation gallery now up with pictures, which we're going to feature every transformation athlete on that page. We're also going to retrieve their bios, and we're going to add their bios because those stories are so inspirational. We want to make room for that division at every show we possibly can. And now that has already been added to the Summer Storm Classic, as well as the next few divisions that we're going to talk about. Kids Fitness was something that we originally started way back when. This year in 2023 was our first year that we added transformation, and we know that's going to grow consistently, which in 2025, we're looking at a venue on the East Coast to specifically just run a transformation show. That's leaked out information, highly confidential at this point because we don't have any specifics yet, but I am looking to do it in the Fort Lauderdale, Miami area. That's going to be number one. Scott, I appreciate those fireworks. Yes, we are getting pyros for a show, but we'll talk about that later. 2025, we're going to leak that information out, and we have been requested to see if we can make that as a feasibility study for 2024 based on the number of athletes that register for transformation. More importantly, more we can feature, and we have something that we're partnering up with a very specific company that has asked us to do that. They've seen our productions. They've seen the way that we run our organizational type skills. So we want to be able to transfer that and translate that into another event, which that would add another event to 2025. I highly doubt we're going to do it in 2024. At this point, I think we're kind of maxed out on staff and capacity unless some miracle happens. Maybe it could happen, but I'm thinking it's like a less than 1% chance to do that. And we don't want to take away from the other 4 events that we have committed to. Now, The Desert Storm Classic is also going to be introducing for the first time. You like that, Jason? I like that. Money, dude. Yes, I do read your comments, and I'm going to need y'all's help. So for those of you who are just tuning in right now, I'm going to need your help because we are going to talk about a poll or a survey I need to know for athletes, previous, present, or future, what we want to do for certain awards. Now, we're adding kids fitness, which we already have 2 ready to go for the Desert Storm Classic. Now, what are the age groups? People have asked me that. It's very simple. Birth to 10 years old. So up to 10 years old. How's that? The reason why I really can't put a minimum on there is because there was one year where we had a parent ask if their 4-year-old could compete. And we let that 4-year-old compete, and she stole the show. So to be able to have the confidence to get up and do a 60-second routine in front of hundreds, if not thousands of people, that to me is exactly why we want to do that age group and why we want to bring kids fitness to the West Coast and to Phoenix as well. Now, there will be another age group that we're opening up and adding, which will be the same as last year and this year, which will be 11 years old to 15 years old. So 11 to 15, you can do a 60-second routine, and then you're going to be judged on your routine, and we're going to do placings. And then 16 to 19, we have teams for every single show, which will be 16 to 19. And then 20 years old and above, of course, they can do anything. You have to be 18 or over to win money, prize money at a show. So if you're in the teen division and you register for open and you happen to win an open division, unfortunately, it doesn't qualify you for the money. Now, I made that clear in the paperwork. So if you have a question, just talk to me about that. We will have true novice, which is beginner. We will have novice, which is recreational and still getting your feet wet. We will have open level divisions where that's open to all competitors, and that is prize payout eligible. We will have masters divisions starting at 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, and so on. If we do have a 95-year-old who wants to compete, we will open the 95 plus division. Yes, John Hill, I know that you're waiting. You just had your spinal surgery, and this is going to be your year, which you're able to get on stage finally. So I can't wait to have you and see you on stage. And that will be added to the Desert Storm Classic. Our new poster, if you saw it, for the Storm Classic UK is up and ready to go. That is on the website as well at stormclassicshow.com. And then also the Storm Classic International Championship show for October 13th. The poster is being finalized right now. I really enjoyed the process of being able to see where our poster production came from. And we've used many different poster folks in the past, and we're trying to create more of a continuous or continuity in our branding. So you know what that poster looks like. We are coming out to Phoenix to go pass out posters and flyers at the gyms that love us and want us there. We're doing the same thing in Houston too. And we will be adding our silver level sponsors and above to our posters. And that's one of the reasons why we got so many sponsors on board already for this next year. Now, a lot of renewals have come in, new sponsorships and partnerships have been formed. So you will be able to see a lot of different companies that are on board supporting us, which in turn are supporting you. Because what we do with that sponsorship and partnership money is we bring that back into the prize pool so we can pay out the $50,000+ that we're paying out every single year. That's really where that stems from and comes from, if you want to know. So we want to give our partners, sponsors, a lot of love. They're vetted companies that we've approved. We know their services. We know they do right by people. That's very important to our brand and also important to theirs. And that's that mutual understanding. Now, here's what I was really looking at. You know, I was starting to get more feedback from coaches and from athletes, and they're like, okay, so I love the Niels Anderson sculptures. I love the jackets. I love the swords, the checks, everything that you're doing, the rings, the championship rings. So what I am doing is, you'll know that we've really never had a backdrop every single year, the same one, until probably about now. So you'll probably see maybe 1 or 2 of those backdrops show up at some of the shows, but we're also in different venues, which allow us to do more for stage production and live streaming, along with content capture with videographers and photographers. So you will feel like a superstar. Our intent is to live stream every single event this year. So you will have a pay-per-view option where you can, if we're overseas and we're at the London show and you wanted to see how that went, but you physically couldn't pay for the trip and be there, and you wanted to see your favorite competitors compete or see how the Americans did against the Brits or Great Britain did against Italy, that's where you'll be able to watch that show, which is going to be very cool. And we're going to try and make it as interactive as we can. The second thing is we talked about doing certain prizes as a series and leading up. What I am going to be doing for coaches, and I'll make this public now because I've really thought about this. I heavily and strongly believe that our coaches deserve a lot of recognition and credit. Not only the contest prep coaches, but also posing coaches. So what we will do at every event is we are going to recognize our top 3 coaches in posing and also in contest prep. Now, if your contest prep coach is your posing coach, great. They can qualify for both categories, but we want to be able to give back to the coaches. And at every event for a Stormtrooper production event, they will be recognized and given something in appreciation. Now, conglomerately, or I would say cohesive. No, I don't even know what the word is. What's the word here? Collaboratively. No. Okay. Cumulatively. There we go. It started with a C and I didn't know what it was. Cumulatively. For the first, second, and third show, along with the fourth show to be married in there, what we're going to do is we're going to recognize our top 3 coaches of the year in both categories. So what that means is you could have been number 1 at the summer show, number 1 at the Phoenix show, and then number 1 at the London show. And that pretty much puts you in a good position to be kind of the coach of the year, top 3 coach of the year. Or you could, have a really strong showing at just one of the shows and, maybe a smaller showing at one of the other shows. That's fine too. Or you could just have a strong showing at all 4 shows. That's great. So we want to be able to give back to coaches. And also the standings have officially started over for athletes. The athlete count, everyone starts at 0. And so from 2024, from the first show at the American Fit Expo Summer Storm Classic, and then the Desert Storm Classic Culture Fit Expo, and then the Storm Classic UK, and then the Storm Classic International Championships in October, we're going to be awarding trips depending on the cumulative standings from those 4 events. You never know what's going to happen because some of you are already setting your calendar up to make sure that you can strategically be at 1, 2, 3, or all of those shows because it is in a 4-month span. So it's going to be nice and close together. So some of you are going to have a warm-up or a lead-up show. Some of you are going to peak in that middle. Some of you might peak toward the end because you might be doing a national show somewhere. That's fine. However your schedule plays out. What we're going to do is we're going to reward the folks who are winning, and we're going to reward the folks who keep showing up. I don't know how many athletes we're going to take in 2025 as far as how many we're going to pay for. It's really going to depend on how these events do. And if we have any money left over, or if we need to come more out of pocket for it, we're happy to do that. We want to make sure we have the best representation from America when we go to the Storm Classic UK in 2025. So that is the initial plan rolled out. Now, I would like for you guys in the chat, and it could be on the Instagram chat or it could be on this chat as well. And hello, Lisa Martin, to you, and Scott, appreciate you. Trey, I see all of your comments now. Sorry, how did I miss those? I kind of get caught up in talking to 2 different cameras and looking down at comments. But here's what we're going to do. I want you to rank, if you won an overall award, hypothetically, what would be the one thing that would be cherished the most? Which means it could be the championship ring. It could be the money. I know those 2 are like the first things that most people think about, right? Could be, the $1,500 or the $750. It could be the championship ring. It could be the sword. It could be the Niels Anderson sculpture. It could be the embroidered jacket. I don't know. It could be the photo shoot, because now what we do is for overall winners, they get invited specifically the following day to do an exclusive photo shoot that they basically get for free. And I kind of like all those different things. And what we were finding was there is so much stuff after an overall winner is on stage by themselves. It takes like 2 people to take everything off. So we have thought about segmenting that up for an overall winner, maybe at one show, getting a championship ring and a sword. And then we save the Niels Anderson and, the jacket for the next one, or maybe run it in a series. Do you have a favorite? So what I saw was championship belt. That's another one that we have heard of. Would it be a weight belt, like a custom embroidered or engraved weight belt, which has your name on the back? Or would it be a championship belt, like a boxing belt? I need to know those things, Cortez and Jeff, because those things right there are important. Yeah, you were just about to say that. I know you were. Come on now. So Don Adams, welcome from Phoenix. I see, let's see, there are a couple of things here. And I really want to know, okay, so a boxing or wrestling belt would be cool. All right, I like that. We've even heard of weight belts. We do have a custom belt maker that is getting involved this year with us. And we could do either, and we could do all three. So what I would like to do is I would like to up the ante a little bit. I don't see a whole lot of Niels Anderson sculptures on here. We are going to give those at one show. I just don't know which show yet. What we are going to be doing is we are going to be customizing the sculpture to where the overall winner essentially gets a sculpture of themselves. Yeah. So like if you win, let's say bikini overall, what you're going to get in 3 to 5 weeks is you're going to get a figurine on top of a base with you on it instead of some random person. So it's going to be your stage shot that you get a chance to capture in this cool booth. And I can't spoil too much. Sorry, Gina. I know you just got on here. This is so exciting. So next weekend, we officially meet to agree upon how we're going to do this and how many people, how many winners we're going to do it for. But this came out of nowhere, and this blew my mind. So what we were finding was this. Logistically, if people from across the pond or someone nationally wins a sword, you really can't take that on a plane. And so we were trying to do smaller swords, which is great. Secondly, is the Niels Anderson sculpture. What happened, and I noticed this because I took Tyson to the airport right after the photo shoot in Arizona. He had this huge men's physique trophy, and he had all of this luggage packed, and then a sword he had to put and buy another, carry another checked bag. And so what happened is, like, he was so overloaded, he almost didn't get everything home. And I'm thinking, okay, so what if maybe the sculpture was smaller, but it was more personal, and we had it shipped to the winner? I think that's kind of cool. So the belt, I think the championship belt is going to be a go. I just don't know which show we're going to do that for, or shows, because I want to research the quality of those belts. I want to figure out how we can customize them to make them where people would say, man, this is a really cool deal. But championship belts have been coming up a lot, and we will try to integrate that into those areas. Now, when it comes to prize money, I was finding that a lot of organizations, even in their world championships, aren't even paying enough prize money, or not as much prize money as we just paid out in one show. I mean, literally, we paid out $50,000, and it's 55, 56,000 bucks, somewhere in there. And some of these shows are paying out 10,000 bucks for the world championships, not for like a regular show. So we're trying to find and adjust to where it's going to be comfortable and it's going to be good enough to where you say, man, this show is really worth it. It's great to always win more money, but if we put all the money into prize money and nothing else, is that a good thing? And that's what we're going to be talking to coaches about, because what coaches bring is they offer a different perspective, because they talk to their athletes, and their athletes are going to tell them what they like and what they don't like. And that's what we want to know. We want to get to the root and the heart. And we're not going to be able to make everybody happy, but we want to be able to get to the root of what makes a great competitor choose a show. And, organizations sometimes just kind of fly blindly, and they're just, shooting in the dark, and they're like, I think they'll like this, so we'll just put up this prize selection and they'll be good. That's not how we want to do things. I would rather give something of value to someone if it was more or less expensive based on what they like. And maybe we even do a custom thing. I don't know how we would do that, but there's a lot of things running through my head right now, which could make 2024 season one of those seasons to where it really starts to set apart our shows from anyone else's. And I believe that we have gotten out of the way of any other shows that are on our dates that really would be in direct competition. We like to be respectful of other promoters, and we do not want to overlap dates unless it's absolutely 100% crucially necessary. And we did move our October show to a Sunday, so there is no other show on that Sunday, thank the Lord. And we're in another country in September, so we can't really overlap on a date there. That would be anywhere local. For August, that's been free and clear for 2 weeks for any major shows in even the greater Arizona area. And then for even Houston, we know generally where those shows and the big shows are going to be. And the market, any shows that are on that day, they're not our market. So it's a completely separate market. And I think that that's where we have strategically put those dates in place to be able to accommodate you, the athlete, so where you don't have to make a choice. Some people say, man, these two shows are really great on the same day, and I got to make a choice because I can't do both. And I totally get that and understand that. And our format does allow for bodybuilders. Some of them are like, oh, I could do it in the morning, and then I could maybe go do this. And I don't even want to put you in that position. Cool. Try not to do 2 shows in one like Isaac Johnson did. He did 2 shows on the same day, and then he did another show the other day right afterwards. So he did like 3 shows in 2 days. I don't know how he accomplished that. I think the show was starting in the afternoon, and then the other one was a morning show. It just happened to work out. So talk about some craziness there. I don't know how you do it, but you did it, Isaac. High five to you. Congratulations. Now, you'll see that I asked people not to share the poster. The reason why I didn't, and I was halfway serious too. The reason on Facebook why I didn't want to share the poster is I knew it was not our final edition or version. And so, sure enough, when I said, please don't share, we don't want to make it too big, there were 15 shares, and then there was 130 likes, and then there were like 42 comments. We just now finalized the revision for the final draft before we put our sponsors on for that show. I'm glad that you did share it, by the way. We can kind of tell who's in our corner at that point, because you know what? You guys do a great job of not only promoting yourselves, but things that you believe in. And we're really honored that you believe in us for what we've been trying to build for everyone as a better sport and a better foundation for how we want to move, definitely into next year. And that really warmed my heart, because my wife was like, oh my gosh, how many people are sharing this and where is it going? I got so many phone calls, so many texts, so many messages. It must have been good, because the American Fit Expo is legendary. We understand that. It's iconic. It's never had a bodybuilding show. They've tried it for many different years. They tried their own thing. It didn't work. They tried another promoter. It didn't work. They had other organizations trying to get into that show, and it didn't work. And we're going to make this work. And I'm extremely honored and excited that we get to be that first vision for them. And so we want to show up at our best. So yes, we are spending a little bit more than normal. Yes, we are revamping everything that you see, from the door to the backstage area to where the crowd will be, how the vendors and sponsors and partners are going to be involved in setup. Those are the little things that we have dreamt about. And we still continue to tweak now, because I'm going to tell you, 6 months is going to run like that. Now, we're 8 months out right now. We get it, almost 9. But I'm going to tell you, if you really look at Thanksgiving to Christmas, that's going to fly by so fast, assuming that 4 weeks, you don't even have that for planning and prep purposes, because there's just family coming in. There's just trying to take a little bit of time off and catch back up and get some balance into your life. We totally get that. And we want you to be able to do it. We also want to keep this on the forefront of your mind, because we're going to be unrolling new things and unveiling new things that are merch, by the way, which we're working on. And I don't have any to show yet, because if I showed and I don't have it to get delivered to you, then you're upset at me because you're wanting it and I can't get it to you. We're finishing up a very large order for a very large client right now. And as soon as that is finished, we will be able to unveil what we can get to you immediately, and then what will be available in the future. But we have changed our merch. These hats, no longer available. These shirts, these were just specially made. Now these hats, these are going to look different. So if you can see that hat, yep, even the logo has changed over the years. The colors have changed. We have low profile trucker hats. We've got one size fits all, as you'll see. We also have the flat bill. And what we're going to do is we're going to be able to provide beanies, hats, shirts, even button downs, polos for those who want to accessorize. We'll be going with halter tops for the ladies, tank tops for the guys and the ladies. We're going to unveil something that hopefully you guys are impressed by and you're proud to wear. And the folks who are involved in our show, we want to give a 1, 2, 3. We want to be able to reward you just as equally instead of just number one. So that's why we're rethinking a few things there. And I appreciate all your comments, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. That helps me to figure out the direction that we need to go. And we're going to see if we can make this thing even better. So don't know if it can, but we're going to give it a shot. We will limit this comments. We try and keep it under 30 minutes because otherwise it just drags out. And I just want to thank all of you. We had a very successful year. This year exceeded our expectations as a staff, myself. We couldn't have asked for better events. And, frankly, we were expecting, the wheels to come off at some point, and they didn't. We kept everything together as best we could. And I would say that our judging was on point. Our expediting staff was tremendous. You guys who were coming in, your energy in the crowd, oh my gosh, it felt like we sold out a show. I mean, I went back and listened to the shows. And so you'll hear different clips and, you'll see kind of panoramic of the audience. And usually when a show starts, there is nobody there. But when I started to look around at some of the shows when they started, they were like, man, this is busy. And you wanted to see the bodybuilders. You also wanted to stay for men's physique, which was toward the end. And I really appreciate those who really interacted with our partners and vendors because they were so thrilled with what you did with them and for them that they want back in this year. And you know what? That's a hard thing to promise. When we talk to a vendor, it's like, how many people will you have there? I'm like, I don't know. What do you expect to sell? I don't know. We just got to take the gamble and hold hands and jump off with a leap of faith sometimes. And every single vendor that I talk to and silver and diamond and all of the sponsors and partners, they are happy with how that went. And I think that is going to be our basis for growth because what we did was we expanded triple the size for our Storm Classic International Championships, the amount of square footage that we have. So that way we can accommodate at least double the amount of vendors that we had. And yes, we are going big. Our venue has 27 video screens. We will be live streaming. We will be having a second and third camera. We have permission to do drone footage with our videographers. So it's going to be a behind the scenes. It's going to be one of those productions to where if you're there, you're going to understand it. If you're not, you're going to miss it. You're just going to have to watch from the stands. You're going to have to watch afterwards. So I would say that each event is set up that exact same way. There is 100,000 square feet at the George R. Brown Convention Center, 100,000 that is going to be filled up with vendors, with professional athletes, with Olympians, with high-level celebrities, with influencers. And guess what? To be able to compete on that stage, you don't think they're going to run by? They're going to take a peek. They're going to be curious, and here's why. We're going to have the music bumping. We're going to have the lights glowing, and you're going to be strutting your stuff, and they're going to want to see what kind of quality showed up for the American Fit Expo Summer Storm Classic. And that, to be a part of that, is like feeling like you are on an Olympian stage. Hopefully. Well, I mean, obviously, we're not going to spend $4 million on the production, so let me back that up for a second. I might be digging a hole, but we're going to do our best to make sure we deliver a fun experience and make sure that you get your stage time, along with making sure that you walk home or drive home. Hopefully you don't walk. You go home with something to be proud with. And that's, I think, better than any other trophy that you could get, knowing that you brought your best package in 2024. So wherever you are in your journey, whether you're brand new, whether you're checking us out, whether you're a veteran, whether you're a professional, whether you're transformation, kids fitness, family fitness, doesn't matter where you're at. We want to involve you this year. Come watch, come hang out with us, come meet the folks. I'm going to tell you right now, with our new staff in place, we have our old staff. We're going to be bringing on some new faces. And, with expansion comes growth. And those opportunities are going to be fun. And I think that we're going to, set a standard, or hopefully at least the bar, to where we can continue to allow some of these other organizations to hopefully see what we're doing and say, I really like that. And I'll end with this. I ended up watching the PCA World Championships. This was in Malaga, Spain. And what I noticed about this was there were some things. Ian Harrison, he's the president of PCA USA. He ended up coming out for our summer show, and he was on the table for a little bit judging. And then we had him backstage helping, and he was a tremendous help. And what I really liked, and I don't think he got this idea from us, maybe we got it from him, but with the big checks, they were on little tripods. And I noticed when all of the content came out, all of the PCA checks were set on these little easels or tripods, which made the stage production look so good when they were doing awards. Like, those are little things to me that are not a big deal to anybody else. But man, when I saw that, I'm like, dude, they probably got that at the same place that we did. And we did that in June. Now, maybe they did that last year. I'm not taking credit for it, but I have to say, PCA, because they put that touch, tells me that they pay attention to detail and they care. I don't know. Those are just little things. We can nerd out and geek out on this, but props to those folks. Miss Fitness Angels had a tremendous showing. They had the biggest show of their entire career when we went 2 weeks ago. Kudos to you, Chris Proctor. And then they turned around, got on a plane a few days later to Milan, Italy. And Paulette, Gymbody CEO, as you'll see on social media, she competed at the European Masters NPC Nationals, and she had a great showing. Amazing job. That's the best Paulette has ever looked. And she's in her 50s, and you would never think it. Just by the way that she carries herself, by the quality of muscle that she's put on, her level of conditioning, her poise, her confidence. Super, super honored to really call those two individuals business partners and great friends. And, Paulette and I got a chance to present trophies at the Miss Fitness Angels show, and I can't wait to see what they bring for the 2024 season, because their events are growing quickly. And it is a much different experience when you're able to sit and absorb and take in a lot of that, because just a few short weeks ago, they were at our event. And then we go support them at their event. That's what great business partners do. That's what friends do. But also we learn from each other. I learned a lot of stuff at that show. And I'm like, I really like that. I think we're going to use that. Can we use that? Of course. And so we're going to continue to forge those things to where those little things are taken care of, where you might not even notice them. But you know what? When we're talking about classes coming up, and I know Muscle Contest does this, and this is, I went to a San Diego show, and I'm like, I really like, I will say, kudos to Muscle Contest. That's the best stage production I have ever seen in my life. And I was looking at it, I'm like, man, what could we do that's very similar to this? And they have great ideas. They've done it for a long time. They perfected it. I want to be able to take some of those ideas. I don't know if we have their kind of budget, but we'll give it a shot. That's what we're really excited about. That's what keeps me up at night and wakes me up in the morning, is seeing how we can do more to get better. All right, guys, that's it for tonight. I appreciate you guys tuning in. And if you have a comment, leave it in my DMs at this point, because I will not see it on the live feed. I have all these comments I can go back and watch and get. And so really, really excited for Showglow, for Competition Kit, for Bella Glam Makeup. And they will be having, oh, shoot, I forgot to mention this. They will be having classes on self-tanning. But here's what we've got for the posing clinics. I know you're going to tune into the end. Like most of you guys are like, oh my gosh, I got to continue watching. March 23rd, we will be at Gold's Gym in Northwest Houston off of 290. And that only allows up to 50 people. So that will be capped at 50 athletes. April 13th, or excuse me, we bumped that a week back because of the Phil Heath is April 13th. We bumped that to April 21st at the Iron City Gym up in Cypress. Iron City Gym will be featuring, and by the way, we got posing coaches that are going to blow your mind. You'll be like, oh my gosh, this is well worth it. Now, in order to get these posing coaches, they don't pose for free. So we're probably going to have a small little upfront, and might be $10, might be something like that. And you need to register and you need to put a deposit in, because these are limited space posing clinics. We will have some free posing clinics too. We get it. We'll have big posing clinics and small posing clinics. May, we're looking to go back May 19th. I need to clear it with Matt at Gold's Gym in Friendswood. And that we had well over 100 people show up this year at that posing clinic, and we expect a whole lot more. That place can handle it, which is great. We also have, Space City Gym that we're going to ask. We're going to have V12 Gym that has asked us to do a posing clinic there. We will do that in League City. We loved Kinetics that we did that in Sugarland, and so if they'll have us back, if Karen and and Chris will have us. We'll do one there. And we even talked about Hellhound up in Northwest Houston. We will be traveling. I will be doing 2 posing clinics in Phoenix, Arizona. Most likely one will be at the Gym Mesa. We will definitely have one at PT by Joe, which he has every weekend anyway. But we're going to be hosting one out there and giving away goodies, merchandise. We will have vendors there. You'll be able to get free stuff, and you'll also be able to get advice, guidance, posing, and tips from the best in the business. We will be featuring these posing coaches so you know who they are, and you know exactly how to get in touch with them, because some of them are full on their posing clients. Some of them have a few openings if you're looking for a posing coach. If you already have a posing coach, great. If you're looking for a new one, that is a possibility with some of these folks. So with that being said, guys, I did want to get the posing clinics out, the first 3. We will announce the next 3 as we get those secured venues and dates. And that way, you know exactly how to plan your year. So just in review, March 23rd, Gold's Gym. And where is it? It's Northwest Houston. April 21st, Iron City Gym. And then May 19th, we're looking at Gold's Gym in Friendswood. And we don't have the confirmation on that one yet, but we are looking to confirm that here tomorrow. So we will let you know. That will be in writing. Check stormclassicshow.com website. You will start to see those posters go up as I hand make each poster for each posing clinic. And that way you know the date, the time, the entry, everything there, so you know how to get in there. So with that, I hope you guys have a great Monday. I hope this was helpful. And please let me know if there's anything you liked or disliked from these videos. And we can get a good handle on everything and hopefully make that much better next time. So guys, take care. We'll talk soon.